And so the 2015 6th Ashworth Cup comes to the Belfry, the latest in already a long list of other prestigious venues that have gone before: the K Club, the Grove, Turnberry, Celtic Manor and Gleneagles. 3 of them Ryder Cup venues, but only once. The Belfry has 4 Ryder Cups and a balance of European success to its credit, and so represents a great fit for this expanded 3-round format. TGI 3-2 up on Foremost in the series. This is the context as the captains come together on the first tee. 3-2 down in the series, but a little bit of momentum last year, so you come to the Belfry with a spring in your step?
Yes, I was fortunate enough to play last year at Gleneagles, and we had a good couple of days with a very strong team. This year's team's equally as strong. We have a great qualification process now, so fingers crossed we had a good couple of days here at the Belfry.
You'll tell me much the same, I'm sure, Carl. You've had a qualification process
Yes.
that's worked and that produces a strong team here.
Fantastic team, yeah, great players. I think it's very important in the qualification that every pro has a chance to make the team, and that's what happened. So it's a fantastic opportunity for them to enjoy a very special event, and we hope to try and put the record straight from last year. Yeah.
9 o'clock sharp then for the first match. Nothing like the irritating distraction of a brief interview before that first drive.
No, we've had some great Ashworth Cups, and I don't see this being any different. They've always been competitive, but friendly as well. I don't think it'll be any different today, unless the birdie the first.
On the second, and the third, and the fourth.
Oh, I see. It's starting already, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
TGI have got a 3-2 lead to defend in the series.
We're going to try and increase that this week, yeah.
Okay.
We're all pretty confident we're going to do it, but it's going to be tough. They've got a great team, we've got a good team, so may the best team win. I hope it's us.
Well, it's all very serious stuff, isn't it?
It is. It's nice though. It's a sort of a rivalry, but there's a friendly banter as well, which is great.
Myself and Brendan have been partners for quite a long time in the Ashworth Cup and then another 4-ball tournament, so we know each other's game pretty well, yeah.
And that partnership has survived.
It's unbeaten.
It's unbeaten. Well, now there's a gauntlet thrown down. That's really thrown down the gauntlet. Yeah. Let's just talk to the Foremost guys about that, shall we?
Well, we were aware of that, so it's a little bit of an extra added incentive for us to play well today.
Good practice round yesterday, so looking forward to it.
Sends a bit of a tingle down your spine, does it?
Oh, most definitely, yeah. Yeah, it's a great venue to play this event, and really looking forward to playing it. What I say.
Doesn't get much better.
No.
Yeah, it's up there at the top. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. What about then your anticipation of this first round then this morning?
Just looking forward to getting started and getting off the first tee. So yeah.
So there are a bit of first tee nerves then, aren't there?
Yeah, just looking forward to getting going. So.
Massive venue at Ryder Cup over the years, and yeah, it's nice to be here.
Yeah.
And the weather's better than last year.
Well, it's a nice inviting drive down the first, isn't it? Wind behind.
Yeah.
Birdie country.
Well, I hope so, yes. Let's hope we can get down there. This one in the fairway to start with.
Okay. What about this partnership now? Is it a partnership to get TJ after a good start?
Hopefully, yeah. Played well yesterday in practice, so keep it going.
This will be my fourth.
The fourth?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So well experienced then.
Yeah, hopefully that'll pay dividends today.
Yes. And you have a 3-2 series lead to defend in this 6th Ashworth Cup.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously with last year's loss it got a bit tighter. 3-1 was a nice lead, but 3-2 makes it a little bit closer, so it'd be nice to make it 4-2 this year, just to try and give us that breathing space again.
I'm feeling very confident. All I would say is TGI have a very strong team and they are looking hot. However, should they win, they have played extremely well.
I see.
Because our team's feeling very confident.
So this is the psychology of the underdog?
It is actually.
Is it?
Yeah, just sort of tee them up, let them take the lead, but we come back charging.
Do you feel like underdogs?
No, that's his opinion. We're going to lead from the front and go and get some points on the board.
So what I'm discovering already from the Foremost team is a kind of difference of opinion amongst this opening pair. Divide and rule?
Yeah, me and John are on the same side. We know what we're doing. We're singing from the same hymn sheet, so we know what's going to happen.
Perhaps you better tell us as much as you can then about what is going to happen.
Oh crikey, I don't know what's going to happen. It's 21 years ago I played against Richard. My first ever professional event, so I birdied the last to beat him on the last, so we'll see if it happens again, we'll see.
I played last year up in Gleneagles, thoroughly enjoyed it, and glad to get the invite back again here at the Belfry.
Yeah, this is my third time now, so I was fortunate enough to play in the K Club in the first event, and last year at Gleneagles, and really looking forward to it. I managed to finish runner-up in the championship at the Oxfordshire, and I think my name got pulled out of a hat, which was quite lucky.
Okay.
So delighted to be here and really looking forward to the week.
First three, missed the last two, and it's good to be back.
Yes, okay.
I'm the rookie of the team. I'm looking forward to playing here today. It's great weather and a wee bit excited to play.
Of course,
a wee bit nervous, yeah.
Of course, and a new experience.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Good.
definitely.
And so to that last match on the first green, and the business of getting used to the pace of the greens. And a sense already that standards will be at their usual high. Foremost Sean Baird had hit his second no more than 2 feet for a concession, but this, from Stephen Hamill, halved the hole in birdie threes. And up ahead in match 4, a moment on the par 3 third that promises a birdie for TGI's Mike Nesbitt, but doesn't quite deliver, whereas this, for Kevin Crossland, does. Foremost one up. 10 minutes later from Gordon Cottrell, a sand save on the same green that's certainly good enough for a half, but the TGI pairing has something better in mind, and John Lyons holds out for a 2.
Yeah, lovely 2.
Up to the first game on the long par 4 7th. Into the wind, so you'll want to keep the ball low, won't you? That's certainly Stephen Bennett's plan, or maybe it's just a good bad one. But as the ball trundles along the fairway towards the side of the green, this begins to look like an inspirational shot, since the other 3 have all ended up in that ferocious bunker guarding the green. They manage capably enough, but it's hats off to Stephen, who gets up and down for his cheekily devised 4. Golf, of course, can be described as an exercise in never giving up, and TGI's Nathan Stead gives an object lesson here on 8. His recovery from a poor tee shot isn't the greatest, but if you're looking for a putt to save par, then you have it right here. But right behind in Game 5, an example of the game's cruelty. On the tee, Foremost's Richard O'Hanlon. Listen out for the rattle and the frustrated expletive of a partisan spectator.
Oh, bollocks. Stop.
Yes, the ball has hit the flag, and yes, there it is, settling down with backspin way off the green. A bogey 4 was to follow, and an interview.
It was 196 playing in to win, so, and I've hit it. I think, that looks good. Turn around, next minute, it's 20 feet short of the flag, and I just nailed it on the fly. And
I called it, I saw it, I said that's hit the pin and come back.
if it misses the flag, it's probably 6 feet at worst. As it is, I've got a 30-foot chip back up.
What could have been a hole-in-one, could have been, ends up as a bogey 4.
Yes, unfortunately.
Still, it saved you in the bar, didn't it?
Well, yeah, but you're here, I would have let you buy the round.
What's becoming clear, however, as this first round of 3 progresses is the quality of the greens and of the putting. Evidence of good judgment in both pace and direction as the putts rolled in from all lengths and angles. This as the matches reached their final stages where these moments would count the most. And so to the first result of the morning 4 balls. Chris Gray needed this to take match 1 to the 18th tee. Instead, they called it a day 2-1 to Foremost. And a few moments later, the second match was walking in, and stopping besides for a photo or two, this time TGI the winners 3-2. Match 3 went to the 18th, and no mistake this time from Scott Jackson. He'd missed something similar on 17, but this went in for a 1-up win for Foremost. Match 4 finished all square, Mike Nesbitt holding a little knee trembler for TGI to stop what was beginning to look like a rot, 2.5, 1.5 at this point. But then Foremost did press home their 4-ball success under the greying skies, first out of sight with a 3-2 win from match 5, but then clearly the oddest and potentially most controversial incident of the morning. Foremost's Sean Bebb holed this for a birdie 3, and handshakes followed, despite the fact that TGI's Chris Morris was on the green in 2, albeit way at the back and facing that ferocious downhill slope. A technical conversation ensued. Was there no way back from the handshakes, or had the apparent concession of a 60-foot downhill right-to-left putt left the hole halved at Dormy 1? The answer was to depart for the 18th tee and keep the match alive, though only to halfway down the fairway, at which point all involved decided that they'd had enough and the match went to Foremost 2-1. Well, naturally, we sought an explanation.
So I think we're all a bit confused, really. Obviously Sean made a great 3 there, and you know, I think I'd looked at either Steve or Chris, I can't remember who it was, and we both took our hats off and shook hands, and I thought, well, there we are, that's the end of the game. And I went up and picked my marker up and Chris's. I thought the game was over, and I think so did. I think it might have been Steve who I shook hands with, and then realised that obviously after we picked them up that Chris actually would have had a putt for a half.
Yes, and somehow it was assumed that you couldn't make it, or what went through your mind?
I mean, the law of averages were bound to kick in eventually. I was going to hold something.
I fancied you for it.
You know, I did fancy myself for the putt, so
yeah,
I'm
very
a bit
slippery,
disappointed
60-foot downhill, but still you fancied it. Yeah.
20 feet of break.
Yeah. But then what happened was that you nevertheless decided to play on and went to the 18th tee.
Well, only from instruction from
above.
Yeah, we weren't really sure of the rule, really. You know, we'd shaken hands.
Yeah.
I'm guessing the match is over before I picked the marker up.
And so, with a 4.5, 1.5 advantage to Foremost, the afternoon foursomes. Weather forecast for rain spot on. Could TGI retrieve the deficit, or would Foremost stretch their lead? Well, the answer, as someone famously wrote, was blowing in the wind.
Be pleased to know I got that.
Cute.
So, as the teams assembled for the official photographs on day 2, a healthy, you might even say commanding, 8.5, 3.5 lead for Foremost over TGI, who'd clearly be on long odds with any bookie. Nevertheless, neither premature triumphalism nor the gloom of inevitable defeat was the message from the captains.
It is a large deficit. Yeah, we prefer to look forward, not to today rather than back at yesterday. But yeah, we can do what they did to us yesterday, we can do that today.
Do you think that's possible? Or is it all over?
No, it's certainly not all over. We've played in lots of these matches and other similar competitions as well, and it's always closer than you think it's going to be, and I'm sure we're in for a very tough day.
12 singles matches then to decide the outcome of the 2015 Ashworth Cup, and 4 Foremost points would do it, but doubtless they wanted more than just the bare minimum. And early on, a hint of what was to come from match 2. Foremost Stephen Bennett approached to the par 5 third green, quite immaculate, and moments later he was holding out for birdie and an early lead. But TGI were having their moments too. Here's Brendan McGovern on the same green, another birdie. Elsewhere in match 4, some higher numbers on the card. Foremost Jason Grote, a victim of the water hazard in front of the 4th green. But Mike Nesbitt hardly in better shape, a left-handed reverse from out of the trees, halved in 6. Improvisation 2 on the 3rd from Nathan Stead. Pretty daunting looking shot this, but accomplished with skill. But Richard O'Hanlon knocked this in for a birdie anyway to set the tone. And then of course to the Brabazons' signature hole, the par 4 10th, where it somehow seems rude not to go for the green. Trouble is that the balance between risk and reward weighs heavily towards potential disaster, and here's the result for Chris Gray, high up on the bank to the left. You'll understand this hole went to Foremost. And so did this one. Kevin Crossland with an eagle putt on 10. The movement towards a Foremost win was becoming irresistible. And so soon, the handshakes, though with Foremost's James Lee just a little out of touch, it was Rob Giles who was smiling.
7 and 6, that's quite emphatic, isn't it? It is, yeah. Especially against James. James is a good player. You know, he's got a good record himself. So, and yeah, it was a good game. I played very well.
But quickly a Foremost response. Stephen Bennett had hit it wide and left on the par 3 14th, but recovered beautifully to make his par and defeat Paul Walker. The handshakes, well, they occurred a little later, along with a congratulatory kiss. They hadn't been entirely clear about the score, but 5 and 4 it was. A much bigger margin of victory for Foremost Scott Jackson. Congratulations behind the 10th green told you all you need to know about this match. And the entire event was approaching its tipping point as match 1 went to Foremost on the 17th. Chris Gray beaten 2-1 by Andrew George.
It was a fantastic match. He is such a gutsy competitor.
Yes.
And I probably didn't catch him on his best day, but you can just tell he's such a class act. He's a lovely gentleman to play with, and yeah, it was a pleasure.
But here's the moment when Foremost won the 2015 Ashworth Cup and levelled the series at 3 apiece. Mark Hancock with an exquisitely judged 3rd towards the flag on 16. John Lyons gracious in defeat.
Nicely done. Well played. Yeah, enjoyed it. Yeah, very good. Thank you. Captain.
The winning match.
Yeah.
It's not bad, is it?
Yeah, well, I suppose when you're in the middle of the pack, it's half expecting it. The guy behind, he finished it pretty early, so obviously gave me the opportunity to do this. So one for Manchester, I suppose.
One for Manchester?
Yeah.
It's quite good, isn't it, when the rookie actually makes
that winning putt in the decisive moment, or at least it's conceded, but nevertheless, you know, it's a great moment.
Absolutely. In the last 10 minutes, we've had Stephen Bennett and Andrew Jules win. They've won all of their matches as the 2 over 50 players. Mark and Scott got at 1 point yesterday, and they both won their singles comfortably this afternoon. So yes, and all 4 of those guys are rookies, believe it or not. So it's been fantastic.
1 or 2 matches reached the 18th green. Must be at least 60 yards in length, with Kevin Crossland covering at least half of that with a putt that very nearly produced a birdie. His one-up victory contributing to a final score of 15.5, 8.5 in Foremost favour. So Carl, play still in progress, but nevertheless it is a win for Foremost. I mean, how do you assess the 2 days?
Well, I think it's very important to say that it's a fantastic event. We've all enjoyed playing in it. We have come up second best this year, but not through a want of trying. We'll be back next year trying even harder. It's more important that it's played in the right spirit, which I think it has been, and we look forward to coming back and trying again next year.
And so to one of sport's most traditional and wasteful moments. Almost the winners, but TGI already thirsting for revenge. The Belfry 2015 stands out as another great match in the 6-year history of the Ashworth Cup.